Welcome back, family, and welcome to Narcissism Freedom, the channel where clarity replaces confusion, boundaries replace guilt, and your life slowly comes back into your own hands. If you're here today, it's not by accident. This message is for the ones who gave too much, carried too much, and paid too much financially, emotionally, and spiritually, while someone else quietly benefited from your sacrifice. Today we're talking about a truth many people don't want to face. They didn't just use your kindness, your empathy, or your loyalty. They used your money. And the moment you see that clearly is the moment your power begins to return. Reclaiming your money is not about revenge. It's not about bitterness. It's about awareness. It's about boundaries. It's about finally choosing yourself after a long season of self-abandonment. For a long time, you may not have even realized what was happening. It didn't always look like outright theft. Sometimes it looked like helping. Sometimes it looked like love. Sometimes it looked like just this once. You told yourself it was temporary. You told yourself they would change. You told yourself things would balance out eventually. But somehow, you were always the one covering the gap. Always the one rescuing. Always the one absorbing the loss. And slowly, quietly, your stability started slipping. What makes financial exploitation so damaging isn't just the money itself. It's what it represents. Money is time. Money is energy. Money is safety. Money is options. When someone drains your finances, they're not just taking resources, they're limiting your future while protecting their own comfort. Many narcissistic or exploitative dynamics rely on confusion. They blur lines. They create emotional debt, so you feel guilty saying no. They frame your generosity as obligation. They make you feel selfish for wanting security. And over time, you stop questioning it. You start explaining yourself. You start justifying your worth. You start financing someone else's dysfunction while telling yourself you're being patient, loving, or understanding. But patience without boundaries becomes self-betrayal. There comes a moment, sometimes quiet, sometimes shocking, when you finally see the pattern clearly. You realize how much you've given compared to how little you've received. You realize how often your needs were postponed, while theirs were prioritized. You realize how many times you ignored your own discomfort because it felt easier than dealing with conflict, guilt, or manipulation. That moment can hurt. It can bring grief. It can bring anger. But it also brings truth. And truth is where your power begins to return. Reclaiming your money starts with awareness. You no longer minimize what happened. You no longer excuse it. You no longer tell yourself it wasn't that bad. You allow yourself to name it honestly, without shame. Then comes boundaries. Boundaries are not punishments. They are protection. When you stop explaining yourself, you stop feeding the dynamic. When you stop justifying your worth, you stop negotiating your value. When you stop overgiving, you stop signaling that access to you is unlimited. Financial boundaries are especially triggering for people who benefited from your lack of them. The moment you say no, the moment you pause, the moment you redirect your resources back to yourself, that's often when resistance shows up. Guilt trips, silent treatment, emotional pressure, accusations of being cold, changed, or selfish. But here's the truth. People who truly care about you do not require you to struggle so they can stay comfortable. You deserve stability. You deserve security. You deserve to build a life that is not being quietly drained behind your back. You deserve to wake up without financial anxiety caused by someone else's irresponsibility. You deserve to invest in your future without fear, guilt, or apology. As you begin to reclaim your money, something else happens too. Your nervous system starts to calm. Your mind becomes clearer. You sleep better. You start thinking long-term again. You begin imagining a future that isn't built around survival, rescue, or damage control. This is not greed. This is healing. Money, when aligned with self-respect, becomes a tool for freedom. It allows you to create space. It allows you to leave unhealthy environments. It allows you to rest. It allows you to grow. And when you stop funding dysfunction, you start funding your own restoration. You may notice something surprising during this process. As you pull back financially, emotional clarity often follows. You begin seeing who respected you and who only tolerated you when you were useful. You begin noticing who disappears when the resources dry up. And while that can be painful, it's also deeply revealing. Not everyone deserves access to your energy, your time, or your money. Reclaiming your power doesn't always look dramatic. Sometimes it looks like a quiet no. Sometimes it looks like separate accounts. Sometimes it looks like no longer lending, rescuing, or covering for someone else's choices. Sometimes it looks like choosing your bills, your goals, and your peace first, without explanation. And yes, guilt may show up at first. That's normal. Guilt is often a residue of conditioning, not evidence that you're doing something wrong. Sit with it. Breathe through it. Let it pass. On the other side of guilt is self-trust. Your future gets brighter the moment you stop funding what harms you. Every dollar you redirect back to yourself is a statement. A statement that your life matters, that your stability matters, that your well-being matters. And slowly, consistently, you rebuild not just your finances, but your sense of agency. This is where empowerment replaces exhaustion. You don't owe anyone access to your resources at the cost of your peace. You don't owe anyone your struggle. You don't owe anyone your silence. What you owe yourself is honesty, protection, and the freedom to build a life that feels safe and sustainable. If you're in this season right now, know this: you're not behind. You're not weak. You're waking up. And awakening often begins with reclaiming what was quietly taken, starting with your money and ending with your power. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to pause and reflect. Where can you redirect your energy back to yourself today? What boundary is asking to be honored? What future are you ready to protect? Thank you for being here, for choosing growth, and for choosing yourself. If this message supported you, consider liking the video, sharing it with someone who needs it, and subscribing to Narcissism Freedom for more grounded guidance on healing, boundaries, and reclaiming your life. You are allowed to be stable. You are allowed to be secure. You are allowed to stop paying the price for someone else's dysfunction. And your power is already returning.